We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Greg Dulcich and Hayden Rucci for the Miami Dolphins at tight end. And they are two guys that have actually showed like some solid play over the last 2 weeks for Miami. Better than I even expected. Like, I liked seeing Dulcich get involved as a receiver. Honestly, probably his best chance to like sort of revive his career is in this offense with Tua that kind of fits into his skill set. Using him in that short to intermediate range. He actually has looked pretty explosive too, I think, in comparison to what we've seen in the past. And then Rucci has played very limited snaps, like super limited snaps. But in those snaps, he's had like multiple effective blocks. And I don't know if Rucci's going to ever see any more snaps the rest of the season because Julian Hill is returning, and him and Julian Hill play that similar role. But yeah, we got these two. Rucci, I liked what he did in the limited stuff as a blocker. Even Dulcich going out there doing some good stuff blocking on like the second level. He's not going to be much of an inline guy blocking edges, but he's playing with effort. And then I think just the ability in the passing game is really where he can sort of take that next step, because he was a bigger name coming out of college at UCLA as a tight end, just never quite lived up to that. Sometimes it's all about your scheme fit, and I think he's someone that fits well with what Miami's trying to do, and maybe he can make the most of something. I think what you're looking for here is, can you find a tight end 3 for your offense next year, or even a tight end 2, depending on how many tight ends you add. You should still be looking to add tight end heavy, but can any of these guys sort of fit into your scheme next year? And Dulcich still quite young and doing a lot of stuff, being QB friendly, attacking that short to intermediate range, and just looking fairly explosive, has that sort of toughness as well. And just being like a third down converter, because like right here, third and medium situation, like 3rd and 7, getting up, ready to get physical with the linebacker, running the stick. So you just run the stick, and either on the stick here, you either sit or you break to the outside, and based on the coverage here where this guy is, you're going to break to the outside. You catch that ball, get ready to turn and get upfield, ready to take a hit. It just looks way more comfortable. Like, they just waived Tanner Connor, and he's just clearly a better fit for this part of the offense than what Connor does, because Connor always looks uncomfortable catching the ball at the catch point when he has to turn around and make, difficult catches. There's also like a physicality sort of to his game that's missing in this part, that to work that short to intermediate in the middle of the field. And Dulcich just has the better feel for it too, the better instincts, because this is like really his first action working with Tua, because like he played in the Falcons game but didn't really get any targets in that game. Him and Tua like got to be on the same page, and like this ball's out fast. Like, they're bringing the blitz. They got 2 guys in his face, and Tua's throwing it before Dulcich even breaks to get that first down. That's big chem to be able to get built. Really like that from Dulcich. Rucci, I've liked the stuff as a blocker. They motion him in, and they basically get this. He has to do one of 2 things here, because the Dolphins are running some like mid zone going on, and Rucci is actually trying to cut him off. 53, Kyle Van Noy. He's trying to cut him off and like kick him out, and then. But based on how Van Noy plays this, you have to adjust. And I think Rucci does a good job adjusting. But instead of trying to kick him out, when Van Noy hard plays the inside, just use his momentum against him. Instead of trying to strain and get your hips and head across, just use the momentum against him and ride him down the line of scrimmage horizontally. It gives Achane an easy read to the outside, and basically Achane gets this 15-yard run, working off the initial block of Rucci, being very like effective. I think one thing that Rucci has done that I think, we haven't seen from Julian Hill is he does it a little more under control. Julian Hill will have the more highlight type of blocks where he'll absolutely play with like really good play strength. While Rucci is a little more under control, maybe not moving people as much, but using like their own momentum and, positioning against them. Rucci does a good job there, just kind of riding it out, bringing his hips through contact too, which allows him to sustain blocks a little bit better. Another area you can use Dulcich underneath is this was another part I do like about Dulcich game, is he can play like he has the sort of size and the want to as a blocker to play in line. Like, he is a mix of the Y and F tight end kind of stuff. Like, I think he's more of a receiver, but he can at least play in line to at least sell enough as a blocker. So like when he does go out here to block the end and then release out late to the flat as like a receiver, it's more believable. Like, you wouldn't be able to ask Tanner Connor to do that. You could, I guess, ask Julian Hill, but then you also don't really want him to throw these types of situations. Even guys like really only the other one was like Waller you could do this with, because he has a little bit of, like Jonnu, it wouldn't really sell the inline stuff. You could throw him these types of passes, but it doesn't really sell the inline. So it sells the inline, gets him down the ball in the flat, and then he just shows off some yak ability. Not going to be, super impressive as a yak guy, but he has at least enough play strength and contact balance to like when he does get contacted there to fall forward and pick up an extra 3 to 4 yards on the play, which is pretty much all you want out of your tight end there. That's a big part that the Dolphins offense kind of needs, and it just looks like Dulcich is kind of fitting in perfectly to what they would be asking, and he's still pretty young. I still think there's some good talent to work there with. So hopefully, he's someone I'm going to be keeping an eye on the rest of the year because I don't even know if Waller will ever return. Because even with Julian Hill back and like them just waving Tanner Connor, like Dulcich should still see some playing times. And I wouldn't be surprised if after last game Tua feels that sort of comfort throwing to him. Another good rep here from Rucci, playing in line with the sixth offensive line look in line, getting up, blocking an edge one on one. Like as I'm saying, like he's not going to get that initial displacement, but he's doing his job. He's staying square. He's playing with knee bend. His hand placement is good, and then like he's not getting completely moved. Like that's more of his type of style. He's not going to be like a huge mover. At least in a stalemate, it's gonna be more of a stalemate block, but he's not going to like give up the huge, where you completely whiff type of situation. Now, once this guy tries to shed, you stick with it. And now that his momentum and his he's losing balance, you finish him to the ground. Now he goes for the finish. Really like that from Rucci. And like you got to understand, like this is only like I swear to God, like 10 actual real snaps. Like they had some snaps more at the end of the Falcons game when it was garbage time, but like all of these, like he played like 4 real snaps in the Falcons game, and honestly, like 3 of them were pretty effective blocks. Like that's a good hit rate. Like it's a very small sample size, so it's tough to get a feel for it. But like for the percentage of effective plays, like it's pretty high. This is a big one for Dulcich, is running a route a little more down the field. Like because the other ones were like really like under 5 yards. This one, throwing a timing route around that 10-yard range on like a dig where you have to cross the linebacker's face and get to the right depth, the right landmark. Because Tua's throwing this with anticipation. Like you're not really open. Like really, like look where the linebacker's line. Like he's got inside leverage pretty hard here, and Dulcich is able to cross that face, have a big frame to sort of shield that guy away, and look pretty efficient getting in and out of his break. Like when he's got the momentum built, like I think he can run a decent enough route tree. He's more of a get open versus zone type of guy, but looking pretty reliable. Like I was actually very impressed with him in this Ravens game. Even better going back and watching film, because I remember being like, "Oh yeah, Dulcich had a pretty solid game watching live." I think a lot of people thought that, but it was even better going back. I think watching the film and like catching this ball in stride too, and getting upfield, maximizing the yards after the catch. Some guys, might not get much from this situation. They might catch it and go to the ground pretty quickly, but ends up, picking probably an extra few yards up there than he probably should. Really good work. Here's Rucci. They use him, sifting back to the other side of the line and chop blocking. The edge defender taking out, the legs. That's a good job. Like, this is a big block here. And he's able to get that. And then it allows, with the down blocks that they get, Achan's able to work off this perfectly and get a really nice gain. I think a lot of the Rucci blocks were pretty effective. Like I said, like 3 really effective blocks out of the 4 snaps that he really played in that Falcons game. And had a couple in the Ravens game. Like, I showed one, probably a couple more. Here's another one from Dulcich. Like seeing this, just like as we're saying, like running the stick, Tua reading quick leverage and throwing to that tight end. That's a big part of his game, big part of the offense. Hit that back foot. Him and Dulcich trying to be on the same page. Now, I think, like as I talked about, you can either sit down on this or break it to the outside. I think Dulcich has a little more room to sit down on this one because this linebacker's not as close, but I actually think going out is a good move too. But I think Tua kind of expected a little, he's throwing with anticipation. He maybe expects him to go to the outside, but sit it down a little bit more. So the ball's a little bit on his back shoulder. But look at him make the adjustment, flip his hips around, catch it with his hands. This is a big move because I'll be honest, like this ball probably dropped by Tanner Connor, probably dropped by Julian Hill, like the other tight ends that are. I mean, Connor's not doing anything, and then Julian Hill's not really a receiver. You don't even ask him to do this. Like Dulcich catches it, flips his hips, and instantly, flips that momentum up field to get 9 yards on the play. Really, just what you want out of a tight end in this offense. He can give you the little things. It's nothing super flashy, and like I've said, I've wanted a stud tight end. This Dolphins, Dulcich is not that, but like they can get so much production out of a tight end if they had like a full on stud. It would help out the offense so much. But I do think Dulcich could potentially fight himself into at least sticking around to next year and having a chance of having somewhat of a role because he's looked pretty solid. Here's another decent block from Rucci. They using him in motion. Like it's nothing flashy, but I like that he's like at least getting his body on these people. I think when you motion a tight end across like this and they have to hit a moving target, like I feel like I've seen the Dolphins tight end completely whiff, not even get a body on the guy. Like he gets a body on here and he doesn't get pushed back. Like usually when this happens, the edge throws their shoulder into you like this. It usually displaces you and like they'll go into the running back. Like so Rucci's not moving him, but he's not getting moved and meets that stalemate, which is all you really want in this spot, where you're trying to just pick up a short yardage spot there for your running back. So good there from Rucci not being moved. And he has a little bit of this interesting role where like he's being used as like an F tight end, a move tight end, but as a blocking version of that. Not playing a ton in line, being used more on the move like he's a fullback. Definitely an interesting usage for him, and it would be something I would like to see more of, even with Julian Hill returning. I just don't know if they'll actually, elevate him and give him that shot. Because I think they're good with Julian Hill. They're going to use a lot of the 6-0 lineman looks. They're still going to have Dulcich out there. So they don't necessarily need Rucci, but I think it would be interesting to have multiple blockers that can do some stuff. And I wonder, I think if Ingold were ever to miss time again, I think Rucci would probably see a lot of those snaps because he fits into that better than especially Tanner Connor. Dulcich, not known much for blocking, but like, he is someone who can give some effort. And I think when they had him go to the second level on linebackers, he actually had some effective blocks, like creating some displacement, like squaring him up, actually getting the body on the guy, like not getting any whiffs. There, boom, staying attached to it, driving his guy out of the situation. That's a good work. Here's Rucci, just straight up kind of base blocking a tight end, being able to cut this guy out on the backside, like able to at least get the initial part. Like he kind of loses it late, but he sustains it long enough that it kind of gets the job done, at least one-on-one with their James Pierce, who was like one of their first round edge picks, out of Tennessee. I mean, most tight ends are going to lose those battles. I'm totally fine if you're just going to come in and get a stalemate, especially if a guy that like truly hasn't played. Like this is really Rucci's first snaps of actually playing, and when he did play, it was not much playing. Here's Dulcich again, climbing to the second level, getting up to the linebacker and getting a fairly effective block. He doesn't sustain it super long, but he's squaring the guys up. He's leg driving. He's bringing his hips through into contact. Playing with some knee bend there, and then once the guy starts to separate where you might get a holding call, then he lets go. I don't mind that at all. And you get a really solid gain from Achane. A couple solid gains on those runs. Rucci, like I'm saying, like they motion him in again. Very similar concept to the first one I showed against Calvin Noy, this time against Mike Green, the rookie. He goes up like he might he's trying to square him up. And he basically just giving Achane a two-way go because he's going to cut this back and work off of Rucci. And basically what Rucci does will make Achane right. So now that this guy works more to the inside, Achane has room to break that to the outside, gets another nice gain on the play, working off the block of Rucci. That's why I think like he should get more of a look. Like I think he's playing with good technique. He's doing his job. I haven't really seen any like mental mistakes. I feel like that's a reason because I feel like we've seen like in the preseason, you see like the tight end coach yelling at him. They like him, but I feel like it's pretty clear the tight end coach would have some reservations with like being in the right spot. That's like at least the vibe I was getting just from reading between the lines. But I haven't seen that problem yet in his limited snaps, so I think it's time to give the guy some looks. Here's Dulcich. I feel like he's moving right here. I wouldn't mind seeing some vertical seam throws because here Tua ends up throwing this ball to Tanner Connor, which isn't the wrong read because the safety does cheat over the top of Dulcich. I don't show it here because I've broke it down before, but Tanner Connor doesn't get 2 feet inbounds. But like, look at Dulcich. I feel like he's moving pretty well down the field. Like he looks about as explosive as I've seen him. And this is something that was more of his game in college, and he's gotten some work like this in the NFL. I would not mind seeing him get some potential vertical seam plays and see if he can make those plays. Because if he does, that's a huge help in the offense. We saw Waller make some of those plays earlier in the season. No one else, even when Jonnu was here, that wasn't really a part of his game either. Like, maybe had a couple of those plays, but it was very rare. I wouldn't mind seeing Greg get a couple of those shots. I think teams would be kind of caught off guard by it, and he looks like he's moving. Him and Tua have built a bit of a chemistry, and when teams start to, when their linebackers start to squeeze those stick throws, because we've seen, like, Dolphins ran snag, and it's very similar sort of concept. And that was the play they threw a pick against Buffalo. The linebackers were playing very aggressive. Wouldn't mind potentially throw a stick and nod in there, get down the field, or just a vertical shot. These linebackers might start squeezing, and would like to see Dulcich potentially get that opportunity. Here's Rucci in pass pro doing a good job. Like he gets late help from Brunskill, but he didn't even need it. Like this is on like their second round rookie Mike Green out of Marshall does a really good job, and then late releases like very effective. Like he's doing a good job. Like, he's playing very under control with his technique. Like here, he's staying square. He's got the knee bend. He's got a good base, good hand placement. Now, once Green starts to break to the outside, you let go, reset your hands, and then sort of ride him around the corner. Then you get the help from the O lineman, and now you release out of it. Like, love seeing that. Like, that's textbook stuff out of Rucci. Uh, Truly, like, looks very consistent in his play. Like, he's not going to blow you away with crazy dynamic blocks, but he's doing his job and should be someone that I think at least sees some playing time at the end of the season just to see. Just so you need a bigger sample size there to truly get a better feel. And then last play to break down, you got Dulcich just sitting over the middle, just making these catches, these tough ones where you're going to get hit right away. Sit down in between two defenders, make that catch, secure it. Like I know it's a pretty basic thing, but these are plays that I feel like you wouldn't even feel comfortable throwing this stuff. Like you definitely wouldn't want to throw this to Connor because Connor's not making tough catches over the middle. Even Julian Hill, you don't trust him doing this stuff. Dulcich, just catch it, secure it, ready to take a hit. I feel like this is just fits a little bit better into his build, his play style, with what you want to do offensively. It's nothing crazy, but plays like that can keep you ahead of the sticks on drives. It can make third downs more manageable, second downs more manageable if that's your first down play. It's something that the Dolphins definitely need, and I think Dulcich can help provide that better than pretty much anyone else that's healthy on your tight end roster at this point, and was definitely impressed with his game. I think, I want to see some 12 personnel, some, 6-0 linemen with a tight end out there set, only have two receivers on the field. So I think that will help you run the ball, and I think you can take some nice play action shots out of it, and that's something I want to see in the future seasons too. Like, really focus on the tight end position. I hope it's something that gets extra focus in this offseason. So if you guys are doing that, comment, subscribe to the